want to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres, and to follow or to also apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com. Always looking for great guests. Speaking of great guests, today I have on the show Jesse Labreck and Chris DiGangi. They're both American Ninja Warrior competitors, and also Chris is the CEO over at UNX, which we'll talk about that today. And Jesse is a coach and manager over at Ultimate Ninjas over in the Chicago area. Just to start out, hey, I'd like to welcome both of you to the show.
Awesome, thank you.
Hey. Yeah, excited to be here.
Happy to be here for sure.
So as we were doing the warm up, I'm like, first off, your backdrop is way cooler than mine. This gym is absolutely amazing. Tell us, just to get us kicked off, tell us a little bit more about the gym, because I think it's really interesting what you're doing over there.
Yeah, so we had our first location started in Chicago. I came out for an event 3 years ago. From there, the owner had offered me a position to come and run this location in Naperville. I saw how beautiful the gym was out there, the training equipment, just kind of the possibilities that I would have with American Ninja Warrior kind of working at this facility. And then also being able to coach kids that are so passionate about ninja as well. And so now we have this amazing facility with so many obstacles from the gym. And it's an awesome training place, whether or not you actually want to go for the show, or if you're just trying to be stronger, gain more confidence, those kind of things. So I love it here. I love my job, and I love the gym for sure.
No, that's awesome. And one of those things about OCR in general, in the OCR sport, which I want to get into a little bit more, is that it's one of those things, I think it just kind of just draws you in. It just makes you want to do it. You're watching TV, so for a lot of the fans out there that are familiar with both of your work, I mean, they're looking at it and they're like, okay, cool thing is that they're looking at the families, the kids, they're looking at you on TV competing, first of all, an American Ninja Warrior. Then they go into a gym and they see you, and I feel like their mouth just has to drop like, oh, we were watching her on TV, or we're watching him on TV. Tell me a little bit more about what it's like to work with your students.
Well, it's really fun, and the fact that you say that the OCR community, the OCR sport really just brings people in. The interesting thing about that is that obstacles are so fun because of how challenging they are, and you really get to see your progress. We'll see people kids come in where they can't do the monkey bars, and you give them 1 or 2 sessions and they're cruising through the monkey bars, and the smile that lights up on their face is just unbelievable. And it goes from the 5-year-olds that we see come in here all the way up to the people who are doing mud runs and Spartan races, and they're beating obstacles too. And it's the aspect of working on yourself, getting better at something, while also dealing with failing at that thing over and over again until you get it. And it's such an amazing environment. It's so cool for this sport. And in terms of, the kids coming in and being on the show, I think it gives us a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for?
I mean, they look up to us a lot. And so it doesn't take a lot for them to really just listen to us, which is really nice. Because,
it's nice.
Yeah, we don't have to there's not a ton of hard work that we have to do to put in for a kid to just listen to what we're saying when we're talking about obstacles. So that aspect of it is nice. They come in, they're super excited to work with us, to train with us. And so,
they see it on the show, and there's our body of work, right? They come in and they see Jesse, and when Jesse tells you to do something, that she's done it because you see her do it on the show. So it's like, yeah, I should probably listen to her.
Yeah. But that starstruckness only lasts for so long, and then they start to look at us, up to us as coaches and things like that. But then they really fall in love with the obstacles, and then they just fall in love with the sport itself. So while, yes, we bring them in maybe initially, it's the obstacles that they really fall for, and what keeps bringing them back.
So what was that moment, if you remember, or maybe it was a series of moments when you both knew, you're like, you know what, I'm hooked. OCR is for me. I'm sticking with it. This is a path, because I know, Chris, for one, I mean, for you to leave what you were doing previously and go full time, with UNX and building that platform. I mean, how did you both know OCR was the thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was a team sports guy growing up, football, basketball, soccer, all those team sports. And then I started doing track and I did pole vaulting and I was flying through the air and I loved it. And so when I first went down and did my first season of Ninja, it was like unbelievable. Like there's these huge obstacles and there's the lights and the cameras. And it was so fun to like just I don't know, it's just so fun to like beat each obstacle. Every time you beat an obstacle, you feel so accomplished. And there's just this feeling of like, wow, like I am getting so far into this course and this is so much fun. Falling in the water is like, even that part is fun in its own right, because it's just a moment of like, okay, now I have to get back up and I have to do it again and try harder. And I don't know, it's just so addicting to get into. And so when I went down and competed in my first season of American Ninja Warrior, I was sold. I was absolutely hooked on it. And I've been doing it ever since 2012.
Yeah, so he started season 4. I actually had a friend apply and got on the show, and he asked me to go down to a competition and like train with him in 2016, which was around season 8. And I went to a gym and they had some people from American Ninja Warrior that were there that are now my friends, but at the time it was just people I saw on TV. And I came from a track background, and so it's a very, I did it in college, so very tight-knit team. I was used to having a team of people around me, a community. And then for a couple of years after college, I didn't have that. And then I went to this competition, and it just felt like you make all these friends in like just a couple of hours, and you're doing all these fun challenges. And like, it's just, like Chris said, it's just addicting. And so for me, it took one local competition at a gym that was probably like half this size, and we're just all like playing around together. And it's the community, it's the obstacles, and it's the challenges, I feel like.
That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit more about UNX, because I see this as a real opportunity to, obviously there's great work being done over at Ninja. I mean, lots of fans, lots of show. I mean, they have an amazing setup, but I like what you're doing over at UNX, and it seems to me like kind of taking it more to that competitive side of the sport overall. So maybe for those that are watching this that haven't heard as much about UNX yet, because I'm sure they will soon, tell them a little bit more about like the format, how it works. Let's go into UNX a little bit.
Yeah, the amazing thing with UNX is what we try to do is create a league that happens across the country. And the best part about it is over the last couple of years, American Ninja Warrior has just blown up. And there are kids all over on playgrounds pretending that they're famous American Ninja Warriors and their dream one day is to be on the show. And it's just amazing. And you see these gyms like the one that we have here popping up all across the country, where we have hundreds of kids coming into our classes, kids programs. We have an elite team for our most advanced kids that they have to try out for. And we're seeing these kids sort of leaving traditional sports to come do Ninja full time. And so really the goal with UNX is to bring that across the country and allow these competitors who are training at all these gyms an opportunity to compete among the best and, have this season of Ninja where you kind of follow your favorite athletes and you track points and standings, and it culminates all into this big championship. And really, we're just trying to focus on the athletes. We're trying to bring this sport to the viewers and really tell these athletes' stories. And so you could watch them compete and watch them train and just compete year round. And it's been so fun in our first season.
Yeah. I mean, I competed in it. So while he ran it, I was able to compete in it, which was amazing. And it just gave me something outside of the show to really focus on and to like, just compete in again. And so, the show is just a short season and it's just one time a year, where this was spread out over months and we had multiple competitions. And so it just gives me more of a purpose with the sport that I love so much.
And so you've done season 1, and now you're planning on season 2. So first off, where can people find and watch season 1 so they can connect with that content? Let's start there.
Yeah, so season 1 was really successful, and we were able to get distribution on Whistle Sports, which has channels on Stir, which is an app you can get, Samsung TV, they're on Amazon Prime. So you can check out any of those distributions, or all of our content is on YouTube and on our website, unxnow.com. So you can check out any of those sources to go find UNX content. yeah, to get your fix of ninja.
And let's talk about, so now you're planning for season 2. Tell us a little bit more about that and what that looks like.
Yeah, so season 2, trying to plan a season that spans across the country, especially right now in the current times that we're in, is definitely a challenge. But we're trying to maneuver and figure out how to make this work, and kind of waiting to see what all the guidelines are going to be. And we're right now in the process of looking for some funding for season 2 and some sponsorship that'll really help in terms of making sure that the athletes are taken care of, to make sure we can do a season 2.
And so one of the things that I love about Ninja, and as I was kind of talking about Jeff, and I've had other conversations about this, and it's interesting, Jesse, because your story, I didn't know that part of your story, that you, in terms of like, you wanted that connection or to plug back into that community that you once felt in a team sport, previous to starting Ninja, is that Ninja is something that you can improve on and do, at different parts in your life. So I know that at UNX, I think you have some different age limits in terms of when people are allowed to apply. So I think that everything from let's just say a teenage age, I think it is. Well, what's the age again for UNX to apply?
Yeah, it's 13 and older. You can compete in UNX.
That's what I thought. And then, so when you look at like these different things, so it almost seems like a life cycle where even people that are in team sports or otherwise, that, leave, after college or whenever their career ends there, it's like something that you can pick up and that you can still compete and you can still have that community going forward, even into a more mature age. Talk a little bit more about kind of that mature age of ninjas. Are there other age groups, or tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm one of the competitors that is, when we do competitions in the finals for UNX, we're actually out back and we're not able to watch the course. So it makes it really awesome that we can't see it and see anyone else's, what they're doing in there. We call it beta. We can't see what they're doing. So we're stuck out back, but that means we get to hang out with these people and get to know them. So I'm hanging out. There's 13-year-olds that I'm competing against, but then there's also a mom, Sandy Zimmerman, who she has kids that are the same age as the kids that are competing out here. And then there's me, who's like right in the middle. And so it's pretty incredible, the age range of, who can compete, in American Ninja Warrior and in UNX and on the obstacles and stuff. And it just kind of depends, when you find it in your life and if you just fall in love with it, like most of us do, and just how much time you put into it and just how passionate about it you are. I think it just depends, honestly, when you find it, because I didn't find it until I was 26. Sandy didn't find it until I think she was in her 30s. And so, and then you have all these kids who are finding it when they're 8, and you're like, man, I wish I had this when I was 8 years old,
That's what I told Jeff. I'm like, man, these kids nowadays in their fancy gyms and all this. I'm from Michigan. You know how we used to get our exercise shoveling the driveway, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah, definitely.
So I'll just say it's been a pleasure having both of you on the show. I guess final question, what's next for the two of you?
Well, I mean, right now, as we're heading into the next season of American Ninja Warrior, so we're definitely doing a lot of training, getting ready to film for the next season. Both of us came off of really strong seasons on American Ninja Warrior last year, and so definitely looking to carry that momentum into next year. So we'll be doing a lot of training here at the gym, trying to coach up some other people who are also trying to apply, and just getting these kids ready.
Yeah, making our way through Chicago winter too.
Hey, I'm ready for that. Ready for that spring to kick in. So again, I'd like to thank both of you for coming on the show today and sharing a little bit more about your story, all the great work you're doing over at UNX, and of course Ultimate Ninjas. And really, you're both just great ambassadors for OCR overall. So love it, love the work you're doing, and happy to have you on the show. And for everybody watching, don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you're a first-time viewer or listener. Love to have you come back. Have some other great guests coming up for you. And Jesse, Chris, been a pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks.